Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How are you with deep thoughts, Portuguese sayings, ugu nunus, and a chat about smart homes this morning as well. So a good fun program for you this morning as ever. And Dougie Fresh. I don't know how fresh he is, but Doug, our man from the Portugal News, joining us as well later on in the program by phone. He didn't bring his laptop with him to Portugal this time, I think, to keep the number of to keep the stuff down, basically, to keep the luggage and the package down. So Dougie coming in by phone a little bit later on with his report from the Algarve, and to find out what he's been writing for the Portugal News just recently. I didn't check to see if my comment couldn't help but get involved with commenting at the Portugal News. I don't know if they accepted my comment or not. I'm looking at their front page now, though, and snow-covered Portugal one day ago. And thank you, Coach Turner, and in-laws and people sending pictures from my native UK of snow on the ground over there. So keep warm, everybody, back home, or back in my home anyway. And who doesn't like to click the like button first thing in the morning? Thank you very much, T-Duck. Let's get to your content. Oh, Mrs. M coming in with a cup of tea. Can I have a glass of water as well? You nearly tripped and threw the hot tea over me then, didn't you? Steady on. There she is, the wonderful Mrs. M. On International Women's Day, let me just get that ticker tape up. And if you would like to acknowledge all the wonderful women in your life this morning, please do so in your life and in the world. So happy International Women's Day. Please celebrate the women in your life and our world with a shout out in the chat. I did get myself into trouble a few years back when I was broadcasting on Phonic FM in Exeter in the UK. And quite innocently, I thought to myself, well, I didn't think to myself, I said it out loud, foolishly. Why do we even need an International Women's Day? Why can't we celebrate women every day? And that's not really the point, is it? And perhaps a little bit churlish of me then. So let's focus on what's great and good about our wonderful women folk in this world. And of course, highlighting issues where life is not so great for women. And for anyone who is abusing, undermining, or undervaluing women, death or serious injury, I sometimes like to think. But then I think to myself, no, that's probably a bit too much, and I need to curb those sorts of feelings. And surely we can live in a world where we can live in harmony and peace. And what better way to celebrate and affirm that than International Women's Day today? Now, most of the International Women's Day action will actually take place tomorrow. So we're going to have two. How about that? We'll have two International Women's Day celebrations. Your shout outs to the women in your life and great women of the world in the chat today. And Katia Lima will be with us tomorrow with, I think what she said was some kick-ass Portuguese women. So joining us from 9 tomorrow with a little bit of a rundown, not running down, but a rundown, a list of great Portuguese women who I think you'll be impressed to meet tomorrow. Coach Turner was first in this morning with 7:45. My goodness, I think I was still in bed. Happy Hump Day, Gumpers. And you're not the only person to mention the humping this morning. Happy Hump Day, Gumpers. Who doesn't like a hump first thing in the morning? I'm helping my late friend's wife. Oh, sorry. I've gone into that comment all cheerful. And this happens sometimes. You're helping your late friend's wife. I'm sorry to hear that. A somewhat awkward and difficult situation, perhaps. I'd love to all involved, helping my late friend's wife clear out their holiday home today. So it's going to be emotional. Well, all the best to you, Coach Turner. No better man for the job, I suspect, to be doing that and helping your late friend's wife. Hopefully can catch up with the show later. That's not stopped you, however, giving us a God Squad tip of the day. If you're looking for ice, because we were doing rice, weren't we? Rest, ice, compression, and Elevation, careful. Elevation at the end there. Yeah, if you're looking for an ice pack, you can go outside in the UK and collect some snow and do it the organic, natural way. Before we get into your God's God tip of the day, because we are going to be looking at compression today. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers from a nippy -2 Belfast overnight. Oh, I've got lemon in my water. How lovely is that? No snow yet. There is a show, but there's no snow yet in Belfast. But yellow warning, yellow snow warning. No, don't eat the yellow snow. That is not a yellow snow warning. That is a yellow weather warning. Thursday and Friday between 20 and 30 centimeters. And who doesn't like between 20 and 30 centimeters first thing in the morning? Diggle with the first happy International Women's Day this morning. Thank you for that, mate. God's God tip of the day then. I've covered rest and ice. It takes us back to yellow snow. Today it's compression. Definitely don't eat the brown snow. This is particularly useful for arms and legs and helps to there are times when I need to stop and breathe because I feel myself getting carried away and may say something I regret or have to apologize about later on. So, sensible, Carl, at least for a few minutes this morning. I've covered rest and ice. Today it's compression. I don't know if I can be serious. I just want to say more things like, nurse, can I keep the swelling? Just take away the pain. That sort of thing. This is particularly useful for arms and legs and helps to slow the flow of blood to an injury. A tubular bandage works well, tubular bandage, though a normal bandage wrapped can also do the job. Though be careful not to over tighten, as that can cut off the blood supply completely. Not a good plan, counterproductive. From Welsh Wales, of course, in the Algarve at the moment. And that's a message from Coach Turner to Doug, who will be joining us later by phone. Bon dia, alegria, Gumpers. Yet another wet Wednesday. The famous Bangles tune. Yet another wet Wednesday. I don't think we're going to be seeing the ducks, although ducks do like a bit of wet weather. Not today in San Martino de Porto. I'll see whoever turns up at the meetup, Silver Coast meetup at San Martino de Porto a little bit later on today. And it will be my pleasure to do so, although we'll be probably sat in Nelson's marquee, not a euphemism. Sadly, I will also miss most of the show and all of the meetup today. Boo! However, you are supplying the deep thoughts and the ugununus and the Portuguese sayings. Thomas Sowell today. It is so easy to be wrong and persist in being wrong when the costs of being wrong, are paid by others. I'll do that again and not burp halfway through. It is so easy to be wrong and to persist in being wrong when the costs of being wrong are paid by others. A little bit of searing political insight there, although I think cost can be applied more generally rather than just with money, right? Societal cost, perhaps there. Thank you for that, Thomas Sowell, who is an American author, economist, and political commentator, who is a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. Some interesting views as well. I've watched some of his videos in the past. Very interesting. Portuguese saying of the day, não há pior surdo que não quer ouvir. There is no worse person than someone who does not want to hear. And they're probably not even hearing this right now, are they? Thank you very much for that Portuguese saying. I hope you did say it out loud to practice your pronunciation. I haven't seen him on the screen for a while. Where is he? Safe to put him up because and I've been made a cup of tea already, so I won't be spoiling the chances of that. Ugununu then, sardines and horse mackerel are collected in the thousands every year, along with monkfish, Atlantic cod, cephalopods, yes, bless you, skates and other forms of seafood. Okay, there's more to this, The eastern boundary upwelling also allows... We've got an eastern boundary upwelling? I thought we had a west. Anyway, the eastern boundary upwelling also allows Portugal to have kelp forests, which are otherwise very uncommon or non-existent on the Mediterranean. Oh, okay, gotcha. Round the bottom there. No. So the eastern boundary upwelling also allows Portugal to have kelp forests, which are otherwise very uncommon or non-existent on the Mediterranean. And this is more about Portugal's unique, what would be called oceanic patterns, I guess. Excellent dad jokes yesterday. Let's see if today's dad jokes are similarly brilliant. We do have Christian joining us this morning, talking about smart home technology. I don't know if he likes a dad joke or not. Not everybody does, but many of us do here. And the visual dad joke for today, I did, just so you know, James, I don't know if you stayed to the end, but I showed you a dad joke yesterday, right at the end as the end slide. Your visual dad joke today, if I take out the Ugununu comment there on the screen, let me just do that. I was once so broke. There's a Star Trek meme, in case you're listening on the podcast and you can't see this. I was once so broke, I couldn't afford to pay my electricity bill. Those were the darkest days of my life. Very good. Excellent stuff. No dad joke warning this morning for anybody. Take you by surprise there. And I got to say thank you to Owen. This is fantastic. Little House on the Prairie. There they are, the family that are the stars of Little House on the Prairie. And they're all carrying little bags. I really like that one. It took me a while to show that and get it onto the screen, but thank you very much, Owen. And we will come to your photographs this morning because they are now immortalized at goodmorningportugal.com. And so are yours. Ancient Mariner, who I think is in with us this morning, or Salvation Air Force, which is the name you use here. In this context, Portugal closed down its last coal-fired power station. Is that going to be turned into apartments? I wonder. It probably needs a good jet wash before they do anything like that. Portugal closed down its last coal-fired power station. They hope to be fully renewable by 2040. Coal is renewable. It just takes millions of years, doesn't it? Maybe one shouldn't joke about such matters. Bom dia, campers, from James. Feliz carta a todos, como va? Muito bem, obrigado, meu amigo. And bom dia to Deagle. Did you see my comment last week about me, Connie, and Hank coming to Dublin at the end of April? Let's see if he responds to it this time, James. Good morning to you. And very, very popular epic. Well, it's Wednesday today, isn't it? It was 2 days ago, of course, that we did Migration Monday. These weeks are flying by. Or is it just me, or are these weeks flying by? They are flying by, aren't they? And somebody said to me only yesterday, oh, they go, the older you get, the quicker they go. They didn't actually say it like, but that's how I hear it in my head. Morning all from Salvation Air Force and to Deagle on this matter of Portugal going completely renewable. Probably the only European country that has a fighting chance to achieve it with the year-round combo of solar, wind, and hydro. And who doesn't like a bit of wind in their combo? The Portugal Sun, bon dia, alegria a todos. Happy hump day, second humper today, humper gumper. See you soon, Portugal. Going to take a GMP break while we're away, unfortunately. We'll try to check in if possible. We're going to see you in person. That's even better, for me anyway. But here for the show, working and lurking. Matty in too. So see you soon, Francis. And Matty here, bon dia, alegria a todos. De Pombal. Pequeno chuvas, a little bit of rain over there in Pombal as well. We've got a great weather report from Sweden this morning. Oh, my goodness. Look at Sweden. Thank you, Anna, for your wonderful, wonderful photographs. Does anyone speak? If we don't need a doctor this morning, we need a Swedish speaker, probably Anna, in fact, with a flera verde vänligar fram till lunch. Does that mean it's going to be snowing till lunch? Flurries till lunchtime? Look at the face of that Swedish weather reporter there from SVT. He's only got a hat and what looks like 2 or 3 layers on. Looks like he's not adequately dressed for the job. But Morgan Studian, who I think that is, maybe. Oh, no. Morgan Studian is Morning Studio, isn't it? Snövader. Is he called Snövader? Is that his name? Not Darth Vader, but Snövader. I don't know. I need some help here, Anna, but that looks very cold there over in Stockholm. What's this about Benfica fans? Thank you very much, Anna. We'll show the rest of your beautiful photographs that you send me tomorrow morning because we've got a little bit of a queue developing. Oh, and those Guess the Gumpers as well. We've got a few of those as well still hanging about. And brilliant night last night on the GMP Business Club. You'll see Raquel, who I suspect some of you are already familiar with now, talking about a fantastic business, setting up in business workshop, marketing business as well. That's coming up as a free event in Lisbon. And the fella on the right there, Steve, talking about real estate and getting into real estate I was going to say on the cheap. That rather undermines it. But what an amazing fellow. If you have any interest at all in property investing in real estate, I would heartily commend you watch that. We got some great feedback while we were on air and subsequently about that excellent Portugal Business Club show that we did last night. Great fun and lovely to hang out in the Portugal Club as well. If you need help moving to Portugal, let's say you're in North America and you would like to be hanging out on a weekly basis, checking your plans against the plans of others or with others on the Portugal Club. We do that every Tuesday evening at 10 o'clock, which is obviously a good time for Americans and North Americans. And anyway, I mean, it's not just for Americans, but they tend to be the people who get involved with the Portugal Club, to be fair. And we have ongoing support throughout the week just to make sure you feel safe, secure, and supported on your journey to Portugal. And we can do one-to-one support. We have a group every week online, which I think I've been facilitating these sorts of groups now for a couple of years, I think. And it's sociable, it's practical, it's helpful, and it definitely kindles the Portuguese pilot light and helps you develop your plans, check your plans, and feel like you're moving in the right direction. Portugal Club, find out more about that at theportugalclub.com, or just go to our homepage where you can sign up for that service. Marvelous. Christian joining us at 9, talking about smart home technology. Do you have any smart home technology? We don't even have a dishwasher here, so I feel a little bit embarrassed talking to Christian, but I am very keen to find out more about smart home technology. And I met him at the Herdade Do Meio interview, live stream that we did on Saturday with Bobby O'Reilly when we went to the sales office in Lisbon. And Christian, what a fabulously interesting fella he is. And he has been working with some big companies on this smart home technology. And I'm hesitating to say Apple, because I've talked to Apple employees before. I said, oh, no, sorry, I can't talk about it. I wonder if Christian is able to talk about his time with Apple, but he was a leading light at Apple when it came to smart home technology. Do you use such things? How many people here use their phone to talk to their house while they're out and that sort of thing? And are those robotic hoovers, vacuum cleaners that just move around the house with a mind of their own? I'm thinking that thing's going to nibble my toes one day. Does anybody use one of those? And is that what is called smart home technology? I don't know. We'll find out more at 9 o'clock this morning when Christian joins us. And we'll have Dougie on the blower as well from the Algarve at around 9:30. We'll give him a call, see what he's up to, and see what he... That's a good one. James, that's very good. Stop it. You're making me cough. Come back to that in just a moment. Oh, Solion H is with us this morning as well. Silk stockings, what's going on in the chat? Turn your back for 1 minute and people are talking about silk stockings. Let me catch up with you over there. Okay, hold on. Where was I? I was a serious diversion distraction there. Let me just have a sip of my tea, will you? Now, Mrs. M said the other day, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go quiet, create dead air whilst drinking tea. So what do? I'm going to do it anyway. Disobeying. Oh, that's a bit salty. What happened there? Oh, it's lemon. It's bit of lemon juice on the rim of my teacup there. Instant karma, you might say. Disobeying the woman in my life on International Women's Day. Yikes. Portugal closed down. Okay, so we've done fully renewable by 2040. Oh, I'm all of a dither now. And Hump Day mentioned there. Who doesn't like to? Oh, Benfica fans. That's where we need to get to. Benfica fans must be happy. They trampled Bruges and showed no mercy. What was the score? Let us know. Or maybe you shouldn't. There may be people who've recorded that for viewing later. I don't know. If you don't want that scoreline to be spoiled, say now. And then Francis won't do that. Bon dia from Barry. How you doing, Barry? Bon dia, Tourish, as well from João de Nord. It's quite a soggy day here. That's the word I used. Describing the day here in San Martino as well. Yes, soggy. Paul Richards in the Algarve. Are you soggy down there, so to speak, Paul? Greetings from the Algarve. Getting warmer down here. All right, but it's probably still a bit moist though, right? Weekend looking good. If he's saying weekend looking good, he's causing a distraction away from the currently bad weather in the Algarve, I suspect. Congratulations, Carl. Great to see you wearing those frilly knickers in solidarity with International Women's Day. Way to go, big fella. That is not what it means, Pete. Good morning to you. In honor of Women's Day, I do have some practical advice. Never under any circumstance should you compliment a woman on her moustache, no matter how impressive it might be. Carolina Beatriz Angelo, physician and the first woman to vote in Portugal. Thank you, Tabitha, for that. So Carolina Beatriz Angelo may well figure in the list that we're going to hear about and be inspired by with Katia Lima tomorrow morning as we move our celebrations or spread our celebrations of International Women's Day across 2 days, today and tomorrow, with the marvelous Katia Lima. And that Tony, Rant by Tony, anagram of Tony Bryant, will be with us tomorrow as well. He made an interesting debut. Slightly uneasy, am I, when he's around. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. Forget the yellow snow. Watch out for the lemon-coloured water. Yikes. What do you mean? I think maybe. Oh, look at Gok Wan from Fundao here. Fundao's very own Gok Wan. I think maybe the silk stockings garter belt would look better if you had shaved. I'm not sending you pictures, Pete. Yesterday was the first day this year I had no hesting. What is that? No hesting all day. Mostly I was burning, no resting maybe. I was burning pruning cuttings in the garden. Okay, good for you, Matty. Would you like to send pictures of your trimmed bushes? Perhaps. So Lion H, Bon dia Alegria, even if it is raining up there in, that'll be in Braga, won't it? So Lion H. Deborah Davies is in as well, Bon dia. Have you come to find out more about smart home technology with Christian in about 10 minutes' time? Bye, Andy. Bon dia todos from a windy Barrada this morning. How are you, Andy? Good to hear from you yesterday. And bon dia, Big Tony. Antonio F is in, bon dia todos, and he's known as Big Tony. Matty, yesterday was a great day. We got through most of Sleeping Beauty's Bramble Castle surrounds, just waiting to find the princess. Are you two fighting over who's going to kiss the princess to awake her from her slumbers? Thanks to Ewan from Frankie Off Grid. Well, shout out to all the YouTubers as well this morning then. Have you recovered from man flu then, Matty? Oh dear, okay. Lord Gilchrist and Matty then stricken by the man flu. So sorry to hear that. I've heard that the Hoover Institute really sucks. Well, hey, that was good. And I may need to miss much of the show as well. I volunteered to help someone with some chores. Well, it's great to see everybody getting their priorities right, just buggering off and going helping to other people. Well done, though. Good karma points all round here. Yes, all well, firing on all cylinders today. I will get my new Portuguese plate fixed to the electric bike. Oh, a milestone in your migration timeline there. Fantastic. Okay. So I am not the only woman to sport a beard and receding hairline. Queen, is this true or is this a wind up? Queen Hatshepsut did it in the 18th Egyptian dynasty nearly 3,500 years ago. Did you ask her advice? No. Funnily enough, our timelines didn't overlap, Peter. Did you ask her? End of April, I'm in Monaghan for 3 days. Start off May, I'm up and down to Dublin 3 times over 6 days. Springsteen concerts 5th. Are you going to Springsteen concerts 3 times? What? That's the definition of a big fan, is it not? Brilliant. Well done. And yeah, thanks for your earlier information about the new Springsteen album, which I'm sure many Springsteen, the Boss fans, are enjoying right now. More weather warnings until lunchtime. So snow in Portugal. It's official. Have you seen it for yourself, Baddy? Does lunch in... though Baddy speaks Icelandic, not Swedish, but does lunch still mean lunch? You might be able to help. Yes, I think so. Okay, cool. I can now say one word of Swedish, which is lunch. And meatballs, of course. Ooh, so it sounds like we won't be able to connect this time around. Okay, so that's people organizing their Irish trip there. And Tabitha's got a joke for us here. 2 sociologists are sitting by the pool. One turns to the other and says, have you read Marx? To which he replies, yes, it's these damn wicker chairs. Yes, that kind of works better if you read it rather than say it out loud, right? Read, yes. Lee McGrady's here. Good morning, people. How are you, Lee, this morning? Yes, and I am the dishwasher. Talking of, I am the smart home technology in that department. I am the dishwasher, Master C, and you're smart. Thank you very much. Mate, hopefully I am the smartest thing in my smart home. I have and we'll find out from Christian if that's true. I have a dishwasher in my place. His name is James. Yep, you too, huh? And I have a fridge that orders my food. Robots. Okay, so Pete is probably winning the smart home game here so far this morning. I have a fridge that orders my food, robots for the pool and the floor, and every single device is solar powered, including the car. So far, award for Portugal. Well, the Gumpers best smart home goes to Peter this morning. Anyone else who is talking to their home via their phone and that sort of thing, do let us know. Oh, and he's just waiting for a solar powered tractor as well. I mean, can you be working and then it clouds over and your tractor grinds to a halt? Almost literally. In all my beautiful banana brilliance, does it use electricity or renewable energy there? What's that? He is, I suppose humans are renewable in a sense, aren't they? Is he solar powered? I think he is solar powered as well. Okay, so Snuvada. Thank you, Anna, for being here in this translation from Swedish TV this morning. Snuvada is a snowstorm translated. All bus rides are cancelled this morning in Stockholm. Stockholm has been hit by a snow swirl. Bon dia, thankfully for her, from Villarreal to Sant Antonio in the Algarve. So yes, I suspect you are feeling good that you're in the Algarve, and those lovely pictures to prove it will be on tomorrow's show. Carl, the score was Benfica 5, Club Bruges 1. Aggregate score 7-1 there. So thank you very much for that. Paul Richards, expats meeting tomorrow in Portimao. So thank you for that heads up on that. If you want to meet with the expats, we have Good Morning Portugal's Algarve branch of meetups in Portimao tomorrow with Jack and Victoria. And you've got over 100 members down there. That's fantastic. Would be fun if they all turned out. So shout out to all the members of the Portimao meetup. Maybe you'll be there tomorrow. Thank you very much, Paul, for that reminder on that particular event we have ours today on the Silver Coast. And have you got any? It doesn't like a bit of French in them first thing in the morning. Tabitha also off now, off to Orang. Orang is a fantastic little town with a great castle, but that doesn't distinguish it from many other Portuguese places, does it? Carolina Beatriz Angelo was the first woman to vote in Portugal in 1911. She was able to vote after a court fight because only family heads could vote, and she claimed that right as a widow providing for her child. The law was changed the next year, making it available only for male family heads. Wow. That's incredible, isn't it? Thank you very much, Antonio F. and to Tabitha, for bringing her to our attention. More tomorrow with Katia Lima. Let's have a very quick look then at the Gumper blog, because we've got some fabulous photos. If you're listening on the podcast, just make a very quick cup of tea. We have pictures from the Salvation Air Force, aka Ancient Mariner and Owen. Let me bring them onto the screen now briefly. I will describe them for you, podcast listeners. And this is our Gumper blog. Click through to it from goodmorningportugal.com. Skydiving competition in Ponte Lima. That's Owen and John on visuals, and the Ancient Mariners tour of Portugal. Look at these wonderful pictures of skydivers in Ponte Lima, just hanging there in the sky. Brilliant photographs from Owen. That beautiful blue Portuguese sky, of course. That skydiver not caught in a tree. And there's one just coming down to land. And of course, we saw that video yesterday from John where the guy hits the spot directly. Thank you for that video, which you can watch at the Gumper blog. And I will put the link to these into the chat as well. So if you want to look at them, if you're listening on the podcast and you want to look at them later, here are some pictures from Ancient Mariner's recent tour of Portugal. Then you can see the Porto there. That Porto's obvious, isn't it, when you see it like that? And some of these less obvious, but some of you may, of course, recognize them as haunts of your own around Portugal when visiting or, of course, living here. Faro, I think, I don't know, Mrs. M said that could be anywhere. That, to me, I recognize that as definitely being Faro there, the little lanes and the town hall and so on. Lovely pictures, thank you. Another one of Porto with that wonderfully captured bird in the foreground, a gull in the foreground there, and the shipping along the Douro River in Porto, and some lovely fresh produce. And I think we've got some foodie pictures. Dilapidated building, perhaps that's one that's going to be taken by the government and forced into rental. That's a doer-upper, though, isn't it? That's going to need a lick of paint to get it back into service. Some of the lovely azulejos have fallen off the outside of that. Some traditional shop frontage there. Who doesn't like a bit of frontage first thing in the morning? Marvelous. Lovely pictures. Thank you, Ancient Mariner. The problem I've got on the picture deck on the website is that I have to make a compromise between landscape and portrait pictures. And I hope I've done your photography justice. Another lunch there and a flat cap, a cork flat cap, and a lovely looking lunch there in Porto. Another picture of Porto there. And look at this, polvo. That's a beautiful looking dish, isn't it? And I believe that came from that particular... Oh, no, that came from Bastardo Fish Bar, I believe, as well. So thank you very much, Owen, John, and the Ancient Mariner for your lovely pictures there. My goodness, it's 9 o'clock. It's time to welcome Christian onto the screen. Let's give him a nice big round of applause. And here he is. Good morning to you, Christian.
This applause is you feel like Caesar coming in. Oh, thank you very much.
Would you like? Hold on. Okay, carry on. Enjoy it. Soak it up, my friend. You are a natural. Okay, maybe should we get a few lions and Christians? No, that's in very poor taste suddenly, isn't it? How are you? How are you this morning?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you, Carl?
Nice place you've got there as well. A grand piano. Have you been having a
nice... Yeah, I got
lesson?
myself a grand piano there and everything. Oh, it's over there. Okay.
It's easy. It's so easy to forget when your house is as luxurious and huge as that.
Yeah, yes.
Great
It's
to
very,
see
very
you.
luxurious. My hands even disappear in it. It's so big.
Wow. Is that part of smart home technology? Like you can do a Harry Potter disappearance in your own home there. We met, of course, on Saturday, didn't we, at the Herdade Do Meio, where you are the mastermind of the smart home technology that's going into the wonderful development there. And I mean, I'd love to do, given this is Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday, it'd be great to ask you about your Portuguese story, how you got to be here as well as well as talking to you about smart technology. So can you tell us a bit about your journey to Portugal and how you got to be here?
Well, thanks, Carl. I discovered Portugal about 20 years ago, by mistake. Actually, the Portuguese will love this
Right.
story. I was just reviewing a couple of days ago my notebook of countries and places I've been to, and I just noticed there in 1999 Porto, visited Porto, and the date and all that, and then just across Porto. I was saying Porto and the country in where Porto is. I wrote Spain.
Oh,
So
you
thank you.
didn't.
Yeah, I did. But however, in the meantime, the next town, just a couple of days later, I visited was Lisbon. So I learned because it was written Portugal. So
Very good.
I learned in Porto that, hey, actually, this is not Spain. So this was back in 1999. I was 20 years old, I guess.
And you must be in quite a hurry.
And I was in quite a hurry. I was like, okay, where is this? What's going on here? Okay. So you're not Spanish. Great. Got that one. Let's go to Lisbon. And cheese. Okay. Muscatel. I got it. Okay. Portuguese. Discovered the word. Okay. Fine. Got it. Next place.
It's funny. It's good timing because you'd have seen these
Yeah.
back in 1999, wouldn't you? They were certainly there then. And
Indeed.
do you have good memories from that time?
I do. I do. I do. I actually met my first wife, and did a family there. And I returned to Portugal in 2001 or 2001, and stayed for about 3-4 years. And fell in love with the country. Fell in love with the language. Really enjoyed Portugal. I was young. I was restless. I really kind of took to heart everything that happened to me in Portugal back then. Um, it happened that life works in mysterious ways. So I had to leave Portugal in 2004, but always returning every year, almost 2 or 3 times a year, to spend some time in the sun and get some photosynthesis going on, because I changed Portugal for Ireland, and in Ireland the sun, it turns out, is just a newspaper.
Oh, no, we've got that.
There you go.
I would get so.
Or you can put the crickets on. You can put the crickets on. You know.
You know what? I've got that as well, but that doesn't deserve crickets. It's true, isn't it? And
Yeah.
Eagle, who's with us this morning, actually in Belfast, will tell us how cold it is right there and how wet it is right now. So yeah,
Windy,
you're
yeah.
absolutely right. But much to love about Ireland, of course. And I am picking up a little bit of an Irish accent. You did pick up a little bit of the Irish burr while there, I think.
I spent almost 15 years in Ireland, and I did spend some time close to Belfast, in a little town called Redcastle. Redcastle, it's in the southern side of Ireland, in the Republic side. It's close to Derry, or some say Londonderry.
Yeah.
I spent a couple of years there, actually. I loved Ireland. Ireland, it's really some country, and really what makes Ireland is the people, really, and the 50 Shades of Grass, 50 Shades of Green, actually.
So that's what the rain does for Ireland,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Exactly. Rain just brings, the greenery, and brings everything in pops it, all
Yeah.
those shades of green. There are a lot of shades of gray as well there, when you look at the sky. But yeah, beside that, if you can, get used to the weather, then the people make up for it big time, and
Yeah,
the
agreed.
traditions that they have, and the way that they celebrate things, and the way that they take care of each other, and so on. It's really, really amazing. So I really,
There's
really loved Ireland.
there's quite the resonance there, of course, with Portugal, isn't there, in that way? And as well as this
Mhm.
comparison that we're hearing more and more that Portugal is the California of Europe. Some people say that Portugal is like Ireland with sunshine. Would you agree with that?
Well, I look at the Portuguese people and I look at the Irish people, and I'm an outsider in both countries,
Mm.
so I don't know if I'm allowed to do that or to say that. But there is a sense of humor that both the Portuguese and the Irish like. It's more of a sarcastic and more of a dark sense of humor. Also, the Irish love to kind of laugh about themselves, and make fun about themselves, and the Portuguese always make fun about themselves in a dark way,
Yeah,
but
it's true.
funny and in good fun. Um, but if you get them both, the Portuguese and an Irish, into a pub, well, the Irish will get home. The
What brilliant observations you have. I hope your journal. And
My first experience in Ireland was with this Irish fella that got me over to a pub, and we went to the bar, and he's like, "Listen, mate, 5 pints, please." And then he turned around to me. It was just the two of us. He turned around to me and said, "Do you want anything?" I was like, "Oh, the 5 pints are for you." Yeah. Yeah, so that's not never gonna happen in Portugal. They like the wine. They like food with their meals, and they like to enjoy it and take their
Yes,
time.
yes, so
And
true.
pubs don't close at 10 or at 11 in Portugal, so I guess
There's no
if
rush. There's no rush,
there's
is
no
there?
rush
So
to get it in.
drinking technology, not drinking technology, drinking culture is so interesting, isn't it? And I can't
Yeah,
wait
yeah.
for your book. You mentioned there, I'm not that you are officially writing one, but you're a journaler by the sound of it, and you said you're looking in your book of places you've traveled to and been to.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if
yeah,
if
yeah.
you interweave that with the stories you're telling, that is going to be a book I would buy.
Yeah, I need probably a couple more years and a few more pints
Yes.
to get to a book. But yeah, it's a great idea. No, as I said, I really loved Portugal 20 years ago, and I love it today. And I see the changes in Portugal in the last 20 years,
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
amazing. It's
it
amazing.
is amazing, isn't it? Absolutely. We'll find out more about what you're doing here and how you came to be in just a moment. But look, excited about this. Love smart home tech. What is this? Ordered the Three Marias book, New Letters from Portugal at the Weekend. I don't know of that, but thank you for that recommendation. Deagle does know Redcastle. It's in County Donegal, just across from
Yeah.
Derry. And
Good
that book.
Irish man there, Derry, not Londonderry.
Absolutely. Yeah. That book was written in 1971, launched in 72. Oh, this is the Three Marias, forbidden by the censorship and its authors subject to trial, being freed of it only after the 74 revolution. My goodness. Yes, I do have a lovely friend called Eugene in Northern Ireland. I haven't heard from him for a while. He was an early man cave guy. And look, yeah, people used humor to laugh at our troubles as a coping mechanism there.
Yeah.
Deagle is telling us as well. So here you are in Portugal then, and we met at the Herdade Do Meio, and you're part of developing the smart home technology of the smart villas. If we look at this briefly, I mean, I think this is only just sort of skimming the surface, really, isn't it? Pardon the pun when it comes to thermal coatings and sound coatings and smart temperatures. But these are cutting edge homes technologically,
Yeah.
aren't they, with their off-grid nature, their solar panels and so on. And I think you're bringing other smart home touches to it because that is indeed your business. That's what
Mhm.
you're known for, isn't it, as a professional? Tell us more about that. What's
Yeah.
your background in this smart home tech stuff?
Well, I've been in the technology sector since I know myself, and I loved I love technology quite young, starting with my father's or my mother's computer till today. In the 80s, computers were punching holes into cards, and late 70s, and then PCs came about. So that kind of stuck with me. And since then, I did other things, but always geeked out, when some new tech came out. So I
What was your
spent.
first computer? Christian, what was your? I mean, people will want to know because in
All
the
right.
UK we had the Spectrum and the Amstrad computers in the early days. What was your first one?
Yeah, it was a 284 or 248 or something like that, I think it was called.
Yes.
Something with DOS in it. And it was actually my mother's computer. I was on it all the time. I think I remember the screen was green and black. It
Yes.
wasn't colors or anything like that. It was green and
Yes.
black, and you had to do some command lines to turn it on and to change games and things like this. So it wasn't going very fast or very far,
No, but
That's-
we've come quite a long way, haven't we?
but we come quite a long way since then, and it's amazing actually because we were, I think we were one of the luckiest generations because we had, we were lucky enough or blessed enough to grow with this technology and learn it as it came out. You look at kids today, and kids today don't understand how Wi-Fi works, but we do, even if we're not tech guys. We do because we got introduced to Wi-Fi. We know that it comes from that router, and we know what a router is, and we know what a modem is. We know the difference between those two. And it's interesting because kids today, they would have no idea, what a router is or what a modem is, and what a dial-up connection is, or ADSL or fiber or broadband and things, keywords like this that we got introduced with and we learned over the years. So
Like
I
that.
guess it was great, like that. Yeah, that ring. What is that ring?
And then this.
I love that ring. Yeah.
Don't you love this sound? Kids
who
don't
who
do that.
remembers? Who online here remembers that sound? That sound brings a lot of memories, guys.
Doesn't it? But what you're saying about youngsters, they wouldn't know what that was. They would think something had gone horribly wrong if they heard that.
No, listen, I saw guys, youngsters, like kids with their iPods standing in front of their house, and parents in the car saying, "Come on, let's go in the car." And they were like, "No, because the iPod won't work in the car. Because that's where Wi-Fi finishes, right?
Right.
We know coverage is done in the car. There's no more Wi-Fi, So, but we were lucky enough to get introduced with all these technologies as they came about, and we were lucky enough to be part of this. I guess even since the 60s, this ridiculous turnaround of technology and introduction year after year after year after year of new technologies. And I wasn't around here in the 60s, but whoever was around in the 60s, they understand. And I know what they did, the 60s generation and 70s generation and the 80s and the 90s, what they introduced technologically to the world. And that's why I feel we're blessed because, kids today, they don't know what loading is, what they don't know what it means to wait 2 or 3 days to download that illegal movie,
Yes.
They got Netflix and they just put it on, Disney Plus, yeah, they just put it on. We were exchanging VHS tapes. Oh, you got the latest Rocky. I want the latest Rocky. I want to watch that, So,
Yeah.
That's what I mean. We got introduced with this technology, and because we got introduced, we know how the technology works, and then we put that to work to do something else. It's a bit harder now for kids, and I understand them. It's the technology is there already. So how do they make things work? How do they pick this up and make something else, something new, right out of it? So.
And you did. I mean, you picked it up and ran with it, didn't you? We got some memories here, Christian. Look, does anyone remember 5 1/4 floppy disks?
The floppy disks.
That's I was around in the 1860s with the Babbage engine. That's Salvation Air Force used that. The Babbage was his first computer. Even earlier than that were the chime sounds at the beginning and end of a cassette. I don't remember that, but that's when you were loading games using cassettes, I guess, and the chime.
I think that was the magnetic band, wasn't it? Rather than the cassette, was those big wheels, those magnetic bands that were making a sound at the end, so that you have to twist to the band from one wheel changes to the other. Yeah.
Dial-up was fun. Couldn't make phone calls at the same time. Kids, if you're listening, you don't know how lucky you are. Carl, we had one phone line in the late 80s in Belfast. If someone was on the computer, you couldn't use the house phone. Wow. Who doesn't like a 5¼ inch floppy first thing in the morning? Absolutely. And they don't know games that came on 10 CDs on one game. Brilliant. And cassette, 8-track, stereo, Shirley. Don't call me Shirley. And I do. I was a 700 kilobyte, and the hard version was 1.14 megabytes there. Well, before data tapes, you had a stack. Yeah, well, you mentioned the punch cards, didn't you? Now, when you entered the tech industry, you became a tech professional then, presumably, based on your
Yeah, I
childhood.
did. I was fortunate enough to get in young at a little known company that's called Apple, and
Oh, really? I've heard of them.
yeah. Well, when I got in, nobody really heard of them. Well, not a lot of people heard of them. This was pre-iPhone era, and
Really?
they had computers, great computers. I loved the computers they had, and I had since the 90s used the Mac, but always loved the history behind Apple and the piracy and the hacking industry, stories behind it, and them being different, and the whole culture that Steve Jobs brought to the company. So yeah, I worked with them, and I stayed. I did different things with them in what, about 13, 14 years. So I learned a lot with them, and I grew with them. I matured with them, and I was fortunate enough to be part of different teams that gave me this opportunity to take a lot with me. A lot of experience. And one of the last teams I've been with was a team that specialized in technology integration and specialized in smart home. I've been fortunate enough to be part of that, and to be part of what Apple calls HomeKit, what Apple's Apple Home approach is in the first place. And in the very early years of this 2014, 2015, when this technology was launched, it was very early. A lot of people didn't hear about it even today, but because
that's
Apple
right.
is not the strongest in smart homes, but it's slowly getting there.
That's what I want to ask you about, because it seems to me like that there is. I mean, that's why it's so interesting to talk to you today, because there is a whole world of the Internet of Things and smart home technology, which a lot of people don't know about and might never know about. And then there are the real adopters of this stuff, like Pete in our community here, whose fridge can order food and so on. And do you think there's a little bit of a divide emerging where there is, right? Okay, so I guess the first thing is to find out what can be done to switch people onto this. Pardon the pun, So what is, from your experience at Apple and that great vision, and presumably people were talking about the most incredible things that you could do with smart technology that have yet to make their way into the high street. Give us a sense of that vision.
Remember the Jetsons?
Yes, exactly.
You probably are. The age we all remember the Jetsons, and that's the vision, right? The Jetsons is the vision, is the mission statement for everyone that's involved in smart homes, and that's the mission statement. I have no idea who wrote the Jetsons and who made these cartoons, but we all loved the Jetsons and Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy, we loved it not because of what he did, but because of the watch he had. That's what we love, Dick Tracy. He had the gadget, and we love Jetsons because they could arrive at home, and the AI would open everything for them, and we didn't even know what AI means back then. But still, everything was ready. Everything was, they were cooking their meals. Everything was automated, and everybody in the industry, I guess, can get the Jetsons through this. But it is a divide indeed, because there's the hobbyists, there's the guys that know a lot in this, and they are struggling with this technology for the last 30 years. It's nothing new, smart home technology, but they're struggling with this for the last 30 years. And then there are the new millennials, the kids, but like me, like I guess that kind of love this technology, but they don't want to get into line of codes and putting wires and Raspberry Pis and things like that. We just want the Netflix, we just want to play the movie. Basically, we just want the technology ready. That's what we try to do at Apple, and that's why the guys at Google, at Nest, they try to do as well. And that's what the guys at Alexa are in Amazon, they're trying to do. Especially the guys in Amazon and the guys in Google and the guys in Apple, they built little homes, around it. They built smart homes, let's say, and smart technologies the way they thought it's best, And a funny story, someone told me once that it looks at the Alexas and the Googles and the Apples. It looks like like the Three Little Piggies. Do you know the Three Little Piggy story? So it's kind of like that. It looks like Alexa built the weakest house, but it works, and Google built the house that it's a little bit more sturdy and the wolf can't get in that much. And then Apple just built everything from the ground and build everything strongly. So this analogy it's stuck with me. And if you look in real life, that's it. Alexa they don't really care about threats, about security, about privacy, or about anything like that. Google, it's one step in, one step out. They kind of in there with their smart technology, and Apple is really concerned with privacy, really concerned with security and data. And then the wolf, who's the wolf? Well, in this case, it's Facebook. That's the
wolf. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Listening into all those conversations. Wow. Okay. Bobby said this morning. I think it started with Wallace and Gromit. I don't think Herdade Do Meio are going to have a machine, are they, that gets you out of bed, drops you into the kitchen, gives you a boiled egg, a piece of toast, and a nice piece of cheese, or a cracking piece of toast. Bobby, it
may have the next best thing.
Okay, so
that's what we did. That's what we tried to do with Herdade Do Meio. We tried to say, okay, you know what. Smart homes are cool. Home automation is nice, but what can we really try to be tangible? What can we do to be realistic about this? And what is really more important here? And we think that, especially in today's climate. More important is how sturdy is your house and how intelligent it is. How is your house working for you, right? Yeah. What does it do for you? It's not that it's doing your toast in the morning, but is it producing the energy that you use? Is it managing that energy great? And is it doing this without me having to take another degree or another doctorate to learn how to do all this, And that's what I mean by smart home or intelligent homes for the masses, because people don't want to take a degree and learn how to do these things. Hobbyists do, and that's the difference between the two groups. The hobbyists like it because it's their hobby, and myself, I'm a hobbyist. I like to kind of mess around with these things, but mass market doesn't want that. Mass market just wants things ready. And that's what we're trying to do with Herdade Do Meio, is try to get the home at an intelligent level. The smart home, or the smart, let's say, word in itself, it's very overused, I think, in today's climate. And what is smart, really? If you connect it to the internet, it's smart. You don't really know. But if the house in itself can produce its energy, can produce the energy that I need, and can use the extra energy to sell it to the grid, so I can use that extra money to pay for the water I use. Well, that's smart.
That is smart.
Right? Yeah. And in the meantime, I can change the colors of the lights. That's smart, but it's a gimmick, right? rather than smart. So yeah, when someone comes over, I can show them, look, my lights go blue, but I have no bills. Now that's smart, right? In the end of
Yes.
the month. So that's what we're really trying to do here. It's with Herdade Do Meio. It's try to take the worry out of learning how to use a smart home in the first place. Do
Yeah.
those automations for you. Use a bit of machine learning and a bit of AI to pull this together in the background so the house can work for you and can lower your bills in the end, can make a more comfortable life for you, can make a more healthier life in the end. And at the end of the day, you want the results. You want to get there and ride this wave of technology to get those results. Now we are concentrating on the results and working our way backwards towards the technology, and we'll figure out the technology. We figured 99% out of it already because it exists. Because by the way, we're in the 21st century, 2023. There's a lot of technologies in there, so we want to take all that technology, take advantage of it, make sure that this smart house or intelligent home, it's actually working for you. It's actually working for the family and for the homeowner in itself.
And not the other way around. And you
Exactly.
don't have to have a degree. So I mean, that would be truly smart, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? It's something that is intuitive, and I think that is part of the problem in these early years leading up to this point.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're over it just yet, and perhaps Herdade Do Meio will be an example of how that works, where you don't have to have a degree. Where, for example, I mean, I rented a home for a while that had underfloor heating, which was great, but I couldn't use the panel, and so it would be
Yeah.
on. It had its.
Oh, those
It was
panels are terrible. I know the
okay.
user experience in it. What does it do? How do I do it? Or every time you go to a hotel room that's has a thermostat on the wall, how do you use
Yeah.
a thermostat? I'm a tech guy. I can't use it.
So when are we
So,
going to have the breakthrough with that, Christian? Because that is the problem, isn't it? That's where the real sort
yeah.
of, the what's it called? What's that big moment in AI? The moment of intertwinement or
Eureka.
whatever. That's going to
Eureka.
be the big moment for regular human beings,
Yeah.
isn't it? Is these panels that can be understood, or a
Yeah.
technology that will sort of take over for you, understand what you're trying to do, and help you do that thing, rather than offer you 300 other things that you don't really want.
Yeah.
Is that the point that we're at in society, do you think? Is that the promise of AI and machine learning? Is that what's going to happen?
I think there's two ways, right? If you concentrate on the human experience and the user itself, and you can get to a point where you realize that what, I don't need a panel. We shouldn't need a panel. We shouldn't
Right.
need a controller or a remote. We should that house knows us. It's my home. It's my house. It should know me, and it should know what I like, and it should get it. Get it. Get it together. It should get it to me. It should be preset for me.
Yeah.
The same way like your car, you get in your car and it's always set on the temperature that you like because you left it there on that temperature. The seat in your car is the same. Nobody changes that seat because you set it there once and you forgot about it. It's set in there. So nothing changes around you in your own personal car. Why should you adjust all the time what's happening in your house? So that's the idea, is to set it and forget, and the house should adjust. Oh, I see some new guests coming. Do you want this or do you want that? The house should kind of adjust and ask permission and say, hey, I noticed you have a new guest. Do you want me to warm up the guest bedroom? That's not the Jetsons. That's not. It is very real and very tangible to do that right now, right?
Okay.
We have all that technology. We just need to concentrate more on the user and how the user will use this technology, rather than slapping the user with a lot of options and a lot of control panels and iPads on the walls and remotes and I don't know, maybe you have that in your home as well, but I have in my home a ball with remotes.
Yes, I do. And another box.
Yeah, why do I have all these remotes? I have a smartphone and it does a lot of things. It claims it's smart. Why can I not just use the phone for everything? Or even more than this, we all know that all the phones, they know us a lot. They have a lot of data about us. Why is not doing stuff to help me? So that's what I'm trying to kind of bring up. we have the data. Just let's use this data to help each other, rather than do the Google on it and sell it to the highest
I,
bidder. Let's actually use it to help each other,
I
and
love
that's
this,
what we're trying to do here.
brilliant. Herdade Do Meio. Okay, so the singularity was the word I was looking for, and it was
Right.
it's the
Yeah.
singularity of human and machine, and by the sound of it, it sounds like we're fast approaching that, because if we use the motor car analogy, there was a time, wasn't there? If you wanted to go out in your car, I mean, in the earliest of days, you had someone walking in front of it to say that you were coming through on a car, and then
Yeah.
it progressed to a crank handle. And you had to really prepare yourself to even go anywhere in a car and crank it up yourself and that sort of thing. And now cars are smart, aren't they? You get in and it does things for you and does a lot of the work. And the latest cars, of course, can even drive you to a place.
It's a wonder that you get in today in a car and you press a button and it starts. Like,
Yes, isn't that
20 years
incredible?
ago, you had to wait 20 seconds. You remember the
Yes,
old diesels? It was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You had to wait 20 seconds until you start up the car. The old diesels. Now you just press button. It does it
done
by
all of
itself.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
Are we there with housing then? Is that what you're saying? Is that what we can be?
We're there with technology, right? And that's the part where I'm trying to unite two different words, two complete different words: the building industry and the technology industry. These
Yeah.
are parallel tracks. This is a rail track, right? They don't talk to each other. They're
Okay.
trying, and then finally we found someone that understands it, that gets it. In Bobby and the Dynasty Homes and Your Home Portugal, they are the ones that are behind this project, and they get the technology in it. They get what technology can do to help you, right? And that's how we kind of came together, from from talking over a beer and having barbecues in the backyard, talking about these things, and talking about the pain points that the building industry has, and pain points that the tech industry has, and all of a sudden ideas submerged, ideas emerged. I mean, and came about. So I think it's great that Dynasty Homes gets it. That Herdade Do Meio comes to fruition with this. It's great that you don't have that we all understood that we don't have to press the technology. Oh, look at this shiny iPad you're gonna get. Yeah, but what is the benefit behind it? And that's what we're trying to get it. I think concentrating more on the benefits and less on the technology, it's way more important. And as I said, if we manage to lower your bills in the end, counterbalance your bills in the end, and make your home more comfortable, we already succeeded. And on top of that, there's all kind of options you can add on afterwards.
Mhm.
The way you want to customize your home. Once you live in your home with let's say, a basic smart home package, you get used to it, and you know already what's going on around you and how do you want to customize it. And then you give us a call back and we can upgrade you. Hey, I would love my curtains to close and open automatically.
Yes.
Great, we can do that for you. Or,
Nice
hey,
little
I would love exactly the different options, or different features, Jetson like features we can bring afterwards. But we want to take people off the ground slowly with
Yeah.
the bare minimum stuff that people understand, they're comfortable with. And of course, not everybody is the same, so that's why we have other things and other packages prepared. But that's where people will come in and say, you know what, I used Alexa before and I really like it, I would love it in my home. Great, we can
And that can be
make it
installed.
happen.
Brilliant.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
As well as Francis, then we've got Darren, who seems to be a bit of a fan of smart home technology. Lighting is not a gimmick. I use them all the time for years. We're talking about blue lighting and those fancy things that you can do, that you can buy. You can even get that smart tech in the middle aisle of Lidl now, can't you? Where you could
Well,
get change
true.
light bulbs.
You can if you trust them.
Yeah, I
But
love this.
yeah, Darren's right with the lighting. A gimmick. It's if you start messing with your lights and, hey, look at it, it makes green light and so on. But light can really help you sleep better. Light can really help you wake up better, especially if you wake up very early. So yeah, he has a good point there. There is a health aspect to lighting if managed correctly.
Okay. And one thing he doesn't trust so far, and is this just a matter of getting used to it, and a sort of
Smart
evolutionary change
locks.
for humans, but a smart lock's part of the development?
Well, I don't know if it's a shocker for you, Darren, but there's a window usually where a door is, and there are rocks around. You can have your best, door there. You can put a 20,000 euro door or pounds or whatever door, and guess what? They'll get in through the window. So
Isn't he
the
worried about being
lock.
locked out though? He's been. I mean, this is. I think this is an interesting thing because human beings, we're programmed, aren't we, to find
Yeah.
faults and worry
Yeah.
and anxious. And this is what I think he's talking about. It's like, hold on a minute. If my locks are controlled by my phone or a computer, what if I don't have electricity, for example? So what happens with this? How will we cope with this? And do you see, is this just something to overcome in our current state of evolution?
Yeah. So there is there are two ways about it, right? First of all, is the testing, right? So you test it. I'm testing quite a lot of stuff, and I installed them in my house because I love them. I live with a smart lock for years now, and it's great. I have no keys to get in, and I have a gate, and I have a back door, front door, and I love it. But it's because I know the technology and I trust it. But from a newbie point of view, from a new user point of view, you want to test it, you want to research it, you want to read reviews and things like that. But you have wired technologies that you kind of set it and forget, and you have wireless technologies that most problem with wireless technologies, well, batteries. Right, you got to change batteries because it's wireless. There's no plug. There's nothing to plug it in. So smart locks usually are of the wireless technology type, and I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing, right? A bad thing is you need to change batteries every 6 to 8 months, right? It's AA batteries. They're pretty easy to find, but the good thing about it is that you need to change these batteries because the lock will tell you, hey, you're reaching 20% or whatever. And that means that you avoid being locked out, right? Because the lock is telling you, hey, you need to change batteries, otherwise you'll be locked out. But beside that, most smart locks also have the key option, just in case. And the key option, it's only because of Darren. Because Darren asked for it and he doesn't trust it.
Yes.
There's always the key or the keypad code type of thingy that you can have. There's also tags you can tag in and then the lock opens and so on. But it's more the smart locks are more convenient rather than secure or so. If the trust comes from a security perspective, guess what? There's a window beside the door, so they'll always get into the window. It's more about convenience. It's more about, hey, when I come home and my automatic lock opens, I can set or I can use that action as a trigger to set a set of actions. Turn on the lights, turn on the fire, turn on the fireplace, or turn on the heating. You can set a lot of things in motion with a lock. With an action, and it's more convenient. It opens and it closes automatically. And we all hate those big wallets that we have with a lot of cards. The phone kind of slimmed down those wallets, and we all hate carrying keys. And the car industry helped us there, with keyless entry. Now you have a little card to carry in your wallet. But even that card is disappearing now. You can open the car with your phone, and let's get rid of those keys as well that bother us in the pocket. With the smart locks.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think what's happening here is that we're not changing as quickly as the technology wants to, if you like, or that it's available. So it will be a process, won't it? We'll see this because Darren's a young man as well, but he sounds like an old guy when he says he's not going to trust smart locks, which is interesting there. And yes, blue box technology, that's helping with the sleep. A little bit of smart lighting there, I think. Blue blocks. We use smart sockets, says Deagle, connected to our house lights that come on automatically when it's dusk. Great when you're away or our lights come on. We have a doorbell that has a video recording. All of this smart technology is creeping in slowly, isn't it? And as people adopt it, and always with these things, you've got the early adopters, and then you've got the people who just buy it at the supermarket ultimately.
And there is the majority is the convenience. A lot of the doorbell is great because I don't have to be at home to receive my Amazon package. I can answer the doorbell from anywhere in the world, and I can open the door from anywhere in the world, or I can tell people, hey, just drop the package there, beside the door. It's very handy.
Yep, there you go. Well, it's been great talking to you this morning. I hope you'll come back. And I don't know if we'll be able to track the evolution of humanity and its adoption of smart technology within the time frame we've got. But clearly, at Herdade Do Meio, it must be a very exciting project for you as a technologist. Because you get to experiment with all of these wonderful things and actually play. Really, is that what your working life is like?
It's a paradise for a geek like me. it's to try to figure it out. How will this benefit us as a family living there? And all families are different. They all have different needs, and we have to think about each person living there, and how will they share this, and how will they benefit from it in a way that it's tangible, it's easy to grasp, and it's scalable, meaning that they'll take huge benefits out of this. So it's not a barrier, let's say, for a lot of people. And then there's another factor. There's the health factor. A lot of people are concerned with their health, and how do we serve that community? Or a lot of people forget about this, but not everybody is so mobile as we are. A lot of people have difficulties turning on lights. How do we help these guys? How do we help people that have the difficulty to move around at their home? How do we make that home safer? So that's another aspect of this that we tend to forget. Technology saved a lot of this and gave back independence to a lot of people that don't have the mobility or have the difficulty to move around in their own homes. And technology and voice assistants did that wonderful. Did a great job to help all of these people.
Yeah, that's a great a use case, I think you call that, don't you, in the industry?
I don't want to bother you with the industry terms, but it's a use case.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for being here this morning. We look forward to seeing you again, and we'll seeing it implemented on site. So perhaps we can talk to you from another dream home next time on site there, and see how some of this is being integrated into the site there.
And it'll be great if you follow us, and we can the first install we can bring you in, and we can show you the behind the scenes if you're interested in that.
Yeah. One final thing, Christian. Hola, bon dia todos from Chris here, Capricorn Chris. Love smart tech, but make sure the providers have your security covered. Now, again, this is a very worthwhile concern, isn't it? And as well as getting excited by what the technology can do, it is worth making sure that your data and your setup is secure. And it is possible to do that, of course, isn't it?
Remember the three little piggies. So it's up to you to choose the piggy that build the best house. So if you want to choose the piggy that build a straw house, choose the piggy that build a straw house. As I said, Amazon Alexa. If you want to build a house that it's, choose a piggy that has a house that cares about your privacy. It's at the other end of the spectrum. Then choose Apple. So those are what you have in your hand. What controls these things? It's this type of piggy you want. Basically, that's security and that's the privacy. Two very different things, and very hard to achieve both security and privacy in one. And I guess this is what Apple is trying to do, and this is what Amazon Alexa is disregarding, let's say. But they both have their benefits.
They certainly do. Thank you for that. Pick your piggies wisely. Great to meet you. Here, have another round of applause. Oh no, that's no. Oh no,
Time to go.
We're getting connected onto the internet instead. I'm going to give you a nice round of applause. You seemed to enjoy that earlier on. Thank you, Christian.
Great.
We'll see you again soon. And all the best to the head.
See you again soon. This was fun.
See you again soon. Have a great day, mate. Bye for now.
Bye-bye, guys.
There he goes, Christian. Christian there from Herdade Do Meio. What an exciting and fun job to have, to be involved in integrating smart technology into that new build there. Lots of comments are prompted by that. We'll get to those, and we'll give Dougie a call as well. Let's give Dougie a bell. Yes, that's more like it, isn't it, for Dougie, that particular sound? Yes, and we expect Dougie to answer that by saying something like, Chlandudno 365 216. How may I help you? This is are you the gentleman of the house? We'll answer the phone in just a moment. Let's see if we can give him a. Oh, let's see if he's there, and we'll open up the Portugal news page and have a look at some of their headlines while we're waiting for him to answer. So we've got Portugal news front page. Let me bring that to you, and we'll come back to the smart home comments as well in a little while. Let me just bring Portugal news onto the screen. Dougie might have overslept by the sound of it. Do we think so? Hello, Dougie, are you there? Oh, it doesn't seem to be answering right now. So, Doug, answer the phone. Maybe I need to be saying that in Welsh. I don't know. We'll try him again in a little while, but let's have a look at the front page of the Portugal news and have a little bit of a look at what's going on in Portugal. We'll have a look at the Portugal resident Waller about it as well. Your comments on this, most welcome. Portugal news is front page then. Cristina Ferreira is recovering from an ischemic stroke, and I imagine that's a fundraiser there to help her. She's the mum, daughter, sister, friend, and talented hairdresser who lives in Calvoeiro. So a fundraiser there. Sounds like somebody very popular in their community and needing the help of the locals there. Will it be dry this weekend in Portugal? They're also asking on the front page. New dam needed. Okay, what's wrong with the old one? And government getting closer to the Algarve. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, I wonder? Lisbon Bridge traffic increases. I did cross that myself at the weekend. How lovely to be on the iconic 25 de Abril Bridge with the Cristo Rei overlooking you in a rather reassuring way. So I don't know what's going on there. They're not putting the tolls up. It cost me €2 to cross that bridge. And you only have to pay, of course, when you're going into the city and not when you're coming out. In 2022, there were more cars crossing the 25 de Abril Bridge than in 2019. The end of the pandemic and the lack of public transport options dictated a greater number of people using the main route that connects the north and south banks of the Tagus River in Lisbon. And so, yeah, look at that. 1,693,500 nearly crossings in 2022. So is that a chance for them to claim that they need a bit more money to upkeep it? The lack of response from the public transport service is pointed out as the main reason why there were more cars circulating on this bridge than in 2019, the year in which passes for 30 and 40 euros for public transport began to be sold in the metropolitan areas of Lisbon and Porto. That is a great deal, that you can use all of the public transport in the metropolitan area of Lisbon and Porto for around 30 and 40 euros. But it doesn't sound like it's helped, especially take the traffic off the roads. What else do people, maybe they need to make it free for that to help to happen and for people to go to public transport. Well, so we're looking at evictions on the rise in Portugal, sadly. And where is the lowest crime rate in Portugal? Let's have a quick look at that. The district of Bragança wins on that front. Oh, yeah, and our survey, quality of life, is topping the survey. I'll go into that a little bit as well before we finish today. Thank you so much for all your wonderful responses. Only published that, about 24 hours ago, and lots of responses on why did you move to Portugal, and you can take part in that if you want to at goodmorningportugal.com/survey. All right, back to the lowest crime rate in Portugal then. District of Bragança has been named as a district with the lowest number of crime reports in Portugal, amounts significantly below national levels in terms of crime. The Minister of Internal Affairs, José Luís Carneiro, participated in Bragança in the commemorative ceremony of the 147th anniversary of the district command of the PSP. Wow. Responsible for the security of the two most populous cities in the region, Bragança and Mirandela, with around 50,000 inhabitants. Positive data then coming there for Bragança, and the proof is in the fact that there was a reduction of more than 20% in serious crime. He also went on to say, Senor Carneiro, who in his speech mentioned that in the year of 2022, 10 new police officers were placed in charge of Bragança. So policing levels up and crime down. Well done, Bragança. Maybe the eyes and ears of city mayors all over the world could turn towards Braganza and learn a thing or two there. What else is on your front page? Portugal News. Let's have a look. That's an advertorial, isn't it, with TPN? Oh, that's the Portugal News Travels. Okay, 10% discount to all Portugal News readers on some special offers there. Snow-covered Portugal, luxury Algarve hotel looking for staff. If you're looking for a job in Portugal and you fancy joining that rather swanky-looking place, there is a hotel looking for staff in the Algarve. It is a bit of an issue, isn't it, at the moment, finding staff. And the most beautiful house in Porto. Let's have a quick look at this then. The Palacete Silva Monteiro in Porto opens on Saturday with guided tours and tests of Vinho Verde. What am I talking about? Considered the most beautiful house in Porto, the Palacete Silva Monteiro. That is another question that I'm going to put on the survey. We've had at least 2 people saying, we're off to Porto. What do you recommend? We'll do a little survey on that so you can chip in with your recommendations. Looks like this should be on it. The most beautiful house in Porto, the Palacete Silva Monteiro, which will open its doors for guided tours and some Vinho Verde tastings up there in Porto. Look at that. Very nice. A lot of competition, though, I would say. And just the one picture we're looking at of that beautiful ceiling of the Palacete there. Anyway, thank you very much, Portugal News. I don't know what's happened to Dougie. Douglas, we'll give you we've got blue ticks now, so maybe he's turned his phone on. Let's see if we can say Diolch va to Dougie this morning. Good morning, Senor Hughes. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, mate. How's it going?
Very good.
Are you available to talk to the Gumpers this morning?
Available to speak to who?
Dougie, it's Carl from Good Morning Portugal.
I know. I can hear you. I'm sorry. I just missed the gist of that. I'm really sorry.
Don't you worry. Who doesn't like to miss the gist first thing in the morning? I was wondering. I was wondering if you'd like to have a little chat with the Gumpers this morning.
Oh, of course.
Okay. We've got a few comments. We were talking about smart technology as well, Doug. Good to speak to you.
Well, this is exactly what I've been having difficulty with this morning, unfortunately.
Tell us more. What's going on?
I don't know. I think it's something to do with the internet provision. So I've had a few struggles. So hence, you sound like you're a million miles away, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
You are loud and clear for sure.
Excellent.
Are you a smart technology user then, Doug, or are you a bit of a Luddite?
Well, I can use a laptop. I can just about get away with using one of those tablet things, and of course, I'm using a smartphone right now.
Yeah, okay, but that's about the limit of it, is it?
I'm sorry, I didn't get to hear that.
That's about the limit of it for you, is it? When it comes,
that's about the limit of it for me. For me, I mean, when it comes to these smart technologies you find in cars or all these infotainment things, I'm absolutely hopeless.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, we've had some interesting comments, and you might want to chip in on this. Mikey V joined us this morning, the Salvation Air Force. A comment to you. Smart home systems. This is because Salvation Air Force was really shocked to find that a friend of theirs had all their advertising influenced by what they were speaking into their, I think it was an Amazon Dot. Yeah, that's right. Amazon Dot was installed around the house, and they were mortified when ads. You're right, Doug.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just processing. What you Amazon Dock is a little bit like those. What Alexia type things?
Exactly that. And they were mortified. The owner was mortified when ads started appearing on the web searches based on what he and his wife had been talking about. Seriously, he demonstrated it to me by talking about pineapple for 5 minutes, and within half an hour, all of his searches had links to pineapple-related products. I am not joking.
Incredible. I mean, it's like when you're searching for certain things on Google, and suddenly similar things appear on YouTube.
Yes. What like, Doug? You don't have to say. Smart home systems' primary objective is to actually gather data on their users, says Mikey V. The assistance they provide is just a sales pitch to get their devices in your home. So remember what Christian said. Go for the little piggy who built his house most securely. Because what's Darren saying here? Once a vulnerability is found in one model of a smart lock, this is why he's a bit skeptical of smart locks. All smart locks will be susceptible to that weakness, same as when vulnerabilities were found in certain webcams. Hackers can walk around and unlock your front door without needing to make a noise by smashing windows. And you know what? I think whatever technology we create in this world, there's always going to be somebody who will be able to get around it. I mean, that's just life, isn't it, as well? It's a good argument, isn't it, for remaining a Luddite? But I think there's a balance to be struck here. Okay.
Well, I think I might be better, but I mean, I know an awful lot of Silver Surfers who are very, very tech savvy, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Luddite. I think I blame my generational aspect on the fact that I am a tech Luddite.
Your age, in other words.
Than anything else.
Yes, yeah. Apple are secure. They were ranked certainly by Christian as among the best for security. But Stephen says Apple want all your data for themselves. Well, as long as they don't give it to anyone else, that's fair enough, isn't it? And how can you have a relationship with a customer without knowing their details? I mean, there is I think he did make a mention to that, didn't he? About security and privacy. If you want privacy, you don't share anything, do you? That's the ultimate privacy. And we live in a world where you have to share and strike some sort of balance without being absolutely terrified by all of this. The concept, though, why does he think his programming AI is going to make a better decision than the owner? I think it'll be a long time before people give up full control. Humans are complex. Let's never give up full control. Let's strike a balance. Happy Women's Day to every woman here and all around the world. Thank you, DJ Tasma, for joining us and saying that this morning. And we will, of course, be doing some deeper International Women's Day coverage tomorrow with Katia Lima. And Tony Bryant will be back as well. The Portuguese will be joining us tomorrow. Bon dia from the Global Nobles. And yes, the AI will only work if it gathers your data. Yeah, what can you do? Tell Doug, try to turn his volume up on the side of his phone. It could be that he has turned it down by accident. There is some human intelligence rather than AI coming to your assistance right there, Doug. Is that helping?
There you go. Yeah, well, I've turned it right up.
Okay.
And I think it's a tiny weeny improvement there. I think. Thank you very much.
Well, a tiny weeny is good enough. Big no from us on centralizing smart tech privacy, security issues, and it always eventually costs more. And you get less not in the consumer's best interest, methinks. That's a view from Simon. And keyless entry cars. Always store the key in a tin when you're home at night. What? That sounds like something your grandma would do. As well as maybe putting a tinfoil hat on her head. California was making a law that would split the revenue made from companies mining the information with the individual, says the Global Nobles. This has stirred people right up this morning, this talk of smart technology, AI, and the cutting edge of technology. It was estimated to be around $500 a year. Okay, that would split the revenue. What's that? Maybe a bit more than that, I'm suspecting they're Global Nobles. Tell us more. And Deagle's off to the doctors. Good luck with whatever you're going for, and you don't have to tell us. Dougie, how are you doing in the Algarve? Give us a weather report and tell us what you've been writing or will be writing for the Portugal News.
Right, I've been doing mainly car-orientated stuff, which is pleasing for some, not so much for others. So it's all been about classic cars. That's what I've been writing about recently. In last week's edition, I don't think I hadn't been particularly well. I'd had a really nasty cough, so I'd been a little bit lazy. I hadn't done much of a tap, but I produced a couple of articles. There's one coming up in this next Friday's edition. So I think I can't remember what I'm hopeless. I can't remember what I'm writing, but it's certainly a classic car article.
Classic car
so
article.
The next couple will be.
All right, fantastic. And before you go, what's it like in the Algarve at the moment?
It's always beautiful in the Algarve, but if you want to sit outside, you're gonna have to find yourself a nice shady little spot. It's not particularly windy. It's just that the wind has been coming from the wrong direction. From you lot have been puffing it down our way from the up north.
No one likes wind in the wrong direction today.
So I think the wind direction's changed now. It feels a little warmer.
Yeah. And someone's with you here by Randy saying, really miss all the classic cars we had in the UK. Don't worry, you can reminisce and nostalgize, if that's the right word. Indulge in a little bit of nostalgia.
I find that Portugal's got an absolutely brilliant classic car scene.
Yeah.
And in Lisbon over the past few days, they've had an NEC-like event, where, like the big classic car event they have in the NEC every year.
Yeah.
They've had one up in Lisbon. I failed to attend because I just wasn't feeling up to it. But apparently, by all accounts, it was absolutely brilliant. There were some beautiful things there.
Superb.
It was an indoor event, by the way.
Excellent. And I was in Lisbon over the weekend, and I was in a neighborhood that was where the local Portuguese, I think a lot of youngsters were happily showing off their cars at a little bit of a mini rally in the center of a neighborhood. It was great. Loud music, throbbing engines and so on. They were having a great time.
God.
Yeah. Yep.
I know the type of event.
Yes. And
I remember going to one in Sicily, funnily enough, and it was all these youngsters, and I haven't seen so many loudspeakers in one car ever in my life.
Yep, tremendous fun.
Yeah, literally being shaken apart, the poor car.
Yeah, well, if you want to engage in some nostalgia about classic cars, don't forget to read Dougie's articles in the Portugal News. You do sound a little bit nasal, and like you might have had a touch of the man flu there, Doug. So you take great care.
Oh, thank you, Carl.
And thank you for answering the phone and joining us this morning. And we'll look forward to speaking to you again. How do we say goodbye in Welsh, Doug?
I usually just say toodaloo, on hwyl fawr will do.
On hwyl fawr, was that?
Hwyl fawr.
Hwyl fawr to you, Doug. Great to hear your voice, and have a great day. Same to you, everyone tuned in this morning. Thanks to Christian. Thanks to Doug. Oh, plus a few motorbike events, as well as that classic car show on the Gumper Map. Don't forget to take a look at that. And we'll see you tomorrow with Katia Lima and Rant by Tony Bryant, the Portugueser. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then. Bye for now. Cheers, Doug. Bye.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.